So I bet you were expecting a suggestion video, or maybe you have no idea what's going on. This video is going to be in 3 parts. The third part is an explanation of the beginning of the first part, and will have its own separate video, but if you only have time for one part, please watch the first one as it is the most important. All parts of the video are important, but the first one takes up the most priority and is also the shortest. But in any case, I'm here to follow up immediately as to the meaning of the title and subsequent urgency. And as the title reads, how to fix Deadman Mode. You want to know how to fix Deadman Mode? You remove it entirely. Now you know why I wanted a third part to this video. Okay, so assuming you don't like that idea, here's how you actually fix Deadman Mode. By the way, just a side note, this was written weeks ago. That'll become apparent once I get into the first part, but rest assured I acknowledge this in part 2. So the first part's just going to be like the general suggestions. So I just have 4 suggestions, but I feel like these would make huge leaps in the playability and the watchability of the seasonal and the tournament. So the first one is the easiest to understand, and it is simply have the final area show the player names and the HP levels, or clan names, or any other relevant information. OS Buddy has done this for years on the client, so it'd just be really simple to implement into the game. But the biggest reason for this, aside from just the obvious reason of showing like how the game's going, the entire final hour is pretty indiscriminate, if I may say. It's really hard to sort of like filter through what's happening because it's just a bunch of people just attacking each other, and then the final area is just, oh, yeah, some guy in Guthans is attacking some guy in Arams. And aside from that, you don't really feel connected to the fight at all. You might as well have bots do the final area because it has like the same satisfaction. So if you actually show the person's name, not only would it be easier for the live commentators to talk about what's going on, but the players would actually be able to root for somebody. So my second idea is also just pretty easy, and it's instead of having the 4 quadrants that we had last tournament, instead make it a lot more, like at least 10 or so, because when they divided it into 4 quadrants, it really screwed over single players and small clans. I mean, in previous tournaments, clans would just go into their own corners in the funnel area anyway. So what it did was essentially split up the super large clan into slightly smaller clans. And if anything, it was probably a lot easier to manage. Instead of having to manage one big, huge blob of players, they had like 4 like lower ranking members of the clan to lead each quadrant. So last tournament when the clans were split up, essentially it was attack anything that isn't a part of our clan. It was a lot easier to target single players and smaller clans, because in the previous tournaments, the fact that it was so cluttered actually was a detriment to everybody, and especially large clans. So, I mean, you have to make a lot of quadrants to the point where everybody is split up so much that you either have to be a single player, or like the incentive to join a large clan would essentially be gone, because there is no guarantee at all that you're going to be spawned with somebody of your clan or very many of your clan. So the last 2 ideas are a bit more controversial. The last one is the most controversial, but the next idea is a little less controversial than the last idea. And the third idea is to have a guaranteed teleport to the same quadrant for up to, let's say, 5 players. Because if there's going to be a ton of different quadrants to be put into, then smaller clans would be almost completely obliterated. So it would essentially just be single players versus large clans. How I imagine this being implemented is to essentially have a tweak on the tell other spell, so that you'd be able to tell other with up to a certain amount of people, and they would teleport with you to the same quadrant to work together. Some people may not like the idea of having clans sort of being condoned within Deadman Mode, but there's a couple of problems with that. Number one, RuneScape has had clans since pretty much RuneScape existed. Clans have been a pretty essential part of how people play RuneScape, and there are a lot of mechanics within RuneScape that don't really do anything, or don't do not nearly as much if you didn't have somebody to work with. Also, PUBG, arguably the most popular battle royale game right now, has squads in it where you're allowed to make teams of 4. And I would even go as far to say that the majority of the people actually like PUBG squads over singles, because you actually have some level of dynamic aside from yourself. I mean, what you're essentially saying is that out of the 2,000 people who qualify for the tournament, you're only wanting one person to come out of this. And I think that's pretty unrealistic considering the fact that the seasonal is a month long, the tournament is a week long. I mean, you have so much preparation time that not having a clan is almost like unreasonable. I mean, whether the final hour has a single winner or not, the fact of the matter is during the tournament, you know, like 99% of the tournament, people are working in clans to secure resources, level up, etc. So, I mean, for the longest time, a tournament in the gaming world was always like a 5v5, and then PUBG brought in like 100 people, but RuneScape said, no, we're bringing in 2,000 people. So, and I know that Jagex wants to have this idea of this like battle royale victor where, you know, one person makes it out and have it like really dramatic. But at this point, I honestly just think that's just wishful thinking. So if the ethos for the tournament is to have a single winner and there isn't a single winner, then everybody feels like shit because the purpose of the tournament was not fulfilled. Oh, fuck. But if you make clans official, then when a clan does pretty much inevitably win, then it's like, oh, well, I mean, that was the purpose anyway, so we weren't expecting a single player to make it out. And people don't feel like they've been ripped off because a clan somehow managed to like break the rules a little bit when there's only one person who's supposed to win. And if one person does do some clutch maneuver where they kill like a couple of people and they completely solo it, that just makes it like 10 times more dramatic than if you were to simply say, oh yeah, we're gonna get one person to do it out of these 2,000 people, and out of these hundreds of people who are in clans, we want a single player to win. I don't really think that's gonna happen. Sorry the third idea took so long, but we're gonna get into the last idea, and it is the most controversial out of all of them. And that is limit the seasonal to only 500 players. Now, I could go into a lot of reasons why this would be a good idea, but I don't want to inflate this video too much. So the main theme of this idea would simply be 2,000 is too many players. At least 1,000 of them don't even show up to the final tournament. If you select the top 500, it makes qualifying for the tournament like that much more important to not only the people who are qualifying, but also the people who eventually watch the tournament, because they realize that they're looking at the top 500 people instead of 2,000 people who are kind of good at the game. They just sort of spend a lot of time qualifying for it. I feel like there are a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm going to qualify for this seasonal because there's like 2,000 spaces open, so it's going to be decently easy. And it is easy. And there's a certain level of obtainability that 2,000 slots gives you that 500 wouldn't. So if you're going to say that 500 or 1,000 people can only qualify for this tournament, then legitimately only the most determined people will actually do it, because it doesn't seem feasible or realistic for just casual players. And just really quickly, the reason why you should shorten the seasonal to 2 weeks is because of the fact that the third week is so dead, like hardly anybody plays it. Also, shortening it to 2 weeks brings in a kind of king of the skill element to it, because now it's not really so much about the amount of hours that you put into the seasonal, but it now matters how you spend those 2 weeks, because somebody who's very good at the game can get a much higher spot in 2 weeks than somebody who's kind of good at the game or is kind of a casual player. A month is an exorbitant amount of time, and I feel like a lot of players feel like their time is being wasted having to catch up in the fourth week, because a lot of people who slacked off started putting more hours into the third week. So this is the end of part 1. If this is your final stop, thank you so much for giving this video a chance. And Jagex, if you're watching this and you decide to put one of my ideas into the tournament, please just say hello. You know, I don't bite. I'm quite friendly. I would very much appreciate any sort of acknowledgement that I did help with the game. I don't need to be paid. I just want to know that I'm doing something good. So yeah, just give me a wave. Just give me a holler. Just holler at me. So in this part, we're going to be doing something a little bit more fun, and we're going to be reading together the dev blog at Deadman Winter Finals. Just like in elementary school, we're going to read it together, and we're going to make it a little bit more fun by enjoying a nice cold brew. I am enjoying a Blue Moon Belgian White. So, yep, crack a cold one for the boys. Oh, I just got head, and that was it. So the winter finals, and this is for the winter of 2017, winter 17, as you can see right here, it's right there. The winter finals, we aren't yet able to announce the date of the finals will commence. Hopefully it's not during finals week like last year. We know only too well the benefit of having access to early information, so rest assured that we will provide specific data. Blah blah blah. As the there is no cap on XP gain, of course, and school players protect all. Wait. Okay, so no. This actually makes a lot of sense, because in the tournament, I mean, like, levels aren't nearly as important as compared to like items, because in the seasonal it's literally all about levels. Nobody cares about the items you have. But in the tournament, it really, if you have barrows, you're gonna kill a guy who's only using like dragon hide, you know. So it relies a lot on items. So this kind of makes sense. Kind of. I mean, rebuild rate, of course. Dying with or dropping a stack in Champas. Wait a minute. Our intention with the winter finals is to enable the progression of solo players in small groups. Isn't that what I said a lot during my video? But not at the expense of totally nerfing the effectiveness of larger organized clans. I guess they approve of large clans. Okay. I mean, that doesn't... Okay. Why? Why are they approving it? Okay, so for those who need I guess like a little talk about why nobody likes large clans. I thought this was obvious, but I guess it's not. So let me just extrapolate, if I may. The reason why people don't like larger clans is because it's just solely based off of numbers, right? A clan with like 200 people is obviously gonna lose to a clan that has 300 people, if we're just talking about like average players. Whereas in small groups and solo players, it is solely reliant on each individual person in that clan to carry their own weight. For solo players, that is epitomized completely. Like there is like no one else to sort of rely on. Whereas in small groups, it's still the same, because each person can be targeted very easily. Whereas in larger clans, I mean, you can literally just like sit out. I mean, that's what the leaders of the clans do anyways. They literally just like sort of like sit out and let like everybody else do the work. What's really bogus about this whole sentence, like, I don't know, this honestly feels like a slap in the face. Like, they want a single person to win this, but they allow very large clans. Why? I mean, look at what's been going on these past tournaments. So many times it's been like one group of just one clan who wins, and so the leader of the clan essentially kills off all of his teammates because there has to be a single winner. So somebody obviously has to die, and since he's the leader, he obviously gets it. But how fucking stupid does that feel, where a team leader has to kill his teammates just because of this really arbitrary idea of only one person may win this tournament? Like, when you go to the final hour on Twitch and you look at the chat, and you'll see like, oh, another super large clan wins the tournament again, you know? Like, the chat is just spammed with like, oh, this is stupid. Like, this is so stupid. Like, that's so many people are like that. Why? Because the purpose of the tournament was not fulfilled. You said that you only wanted a single player. So why are you allowing these really, really large groups who have shown that they have won and that they are going to win? So when the next tournament happens and a clan wins and everybody in the chat is like super pissed off because it's like, oh, well, like this like I'm watching shit. This is not interesting. When that happens, just remember that JackX approved of this. Okay, supply chests. What? What? Come on. What? No, dude. What is this? Supply chest, dude? That's what I suggested. That's what I suggested. And the person, like the two people who commented on my Reddit post when I suggested that, the guy said it was too much like Last Man Standing and said it was a bad idea. So this was not like, oh, this is just kind of like an obvious idea. This was obviously my idea. What? Dude, what? They never said anything to me. Oh my god. I don't know what to say. Like, the first significant change arrives in the form of supply chests. The chests will appear each time the fog advances. We will announce the location of these chests in 2 different stages. The first notification of the location will remain vague, whilst the second notification, blah, 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 will offer very lucrative... Oh, look at this! Oh, very lucrative rewards, such as sought-after weapons with special attacks. Gee, I wonder where you got that idea! Lamps which will increase combat skills and overload potions! Dude, this is verbatim my shit! This is verbatim my shit! We intend for these chests to encourage fights throughout the entire duration of the permadeath stage, and also offer a huge power increase for those courageous enough to attempt to loot them. Fuck, dude. Can you just tell me that I'm doing something? I guess this was their attempt at telling me that what I suggested was a good idea. What the fuck, dude? Oh my god. Okay, so we're gonna continue on. I apologize for shouting. I lost my temper. I've been drinking. Final areas. The next change comes with the additional of a second final area. What? I'm not gonna shout, okay? You don't have to turn the volume down. I'm not gonna shout. I don't know if I should cry or laugh. Oh my god. A second final area. Again, this is something that the guy in the comment on my Reddit post said was a bad idea. And they implemented. They thought it was a good idea. Previously, we had one set location announced beforehand to all players. This would pack everybody in a small area. Players will be assigned a final area location randomly once a permanent. Blah 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 blah. The aim of this is to split up large groups. Oh, dude, what are you doing? Okay, That caught me off guard, so I apologize for yelling again. The aim is to split up large groups. Well, where is it? Not at the expense of totally nerfing the effectiveness of larger organized clans. Oh my god, dude. What? That really caught me off guard. But, so I guess Jagex is not approving of large clans now? I hope so. This aim is to split up large groups of players and promote obviously with 2 groups of blah 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 blah. The last surviving 64 players return to the final area islands, which are detailed below. Ooh, that actually sounds really good. So in that way, it's cool, and I think it's going to be a lot better than previous tournaments. I still think if they're going to do this, I don't think they'll be able to do it. It's like, this is, I unfortunately posted this pretty late. Like, I literally started making this video like 3 weeks ago. Yeah, so I don't know if they're actually going to be able to do this, but what I recommend is that 64 players are, like, instead make it a second final area, make it a third. I know that sounds pretty redundant at this point, but it helps, trust me. So the first okay, so I see it here. This is because I just clicked on this. I didn't even explain why, but I clicked on this and I saw this and I'm like, oh, they're changing stuff and it looks kind of similar to mine. So I wanted to make it the second part of this video to be about this, because I assumed that they would do stuff that was pretty similar to my ideas. But anyways, so yeah, so this would be the first layer. It'd be just a horde of people just fighting it out, you know, just really cutting down the numbers. That's what the point is to cut down the numbers. The second area would be 64 players. It would be like a PUBG sort of thing. It would feel a lot like PUBG, where, you know, it's kind of random, but it's still really cool to watch. And then a third final area would be the 10 people who make it out of these, you know, this PUBG round would be in an area that would be like completely, it would be like this really eerie, or, you know, it would be this really cool setting that people wouldn't know what to do. Like, there could be buildings with ladders, there could be caves, there could be you know, all these sort of things that could hide people, or like trees everywhere to make it like, to make visibility a lot less. Hide, dude, this is a good fucking idea. Hide the mini map. The people cannot, like, or just like black it out. Make the final area completely, the mini map can make it completely blacked out. don't allow the sort of the white dot to appear. Like if another player is nearby in the mini map, don't show the white dot. It's just completely like this sneaky thing where like these like last 10 people are all in this like really like strange and desolate area, and they don't know where where they're going. And it would be a lot cooler to see 10 people who you can all show on the screen, like all their names, their hit points, prayer, run, whatever. Just have it like the small little boxes are organized throughout the outline of the Twitch thing, because they already do an outline. So it's not like people are going to complain that, oh, the outline showing the players' health and stuff is taking up too much time, because they literally already have an outline that does nothing. It's just a design. So yeah, so I think that's what they should do. But this is a step in the right direction. My first suggestion is to add a semi-finalist round, although instead of one world, there are 10 worlds holding around 80 players or however many people played the final hour. These are called divisions and are randomly selected to individuals. The single winners out of each of the world divisions are now our finalists. Each player is given a color and a chance to design a design or pick a stock one, and have players rooting for their team. All 10 players on opposite sides of the map with the cornucopia of items in the center. In the cornucopia there could be food, potions, weapons, or even better, special items. Special energy potion, a potion that has many doses that fully restores your special attack bar, like Power Surge. Potion of Invincibility, a potion that makes the drinker invincible for 10 seconds or absorb a certain amount of damage, like Absorption. Forbidden Curse, a spell that lowers a random stat from the victim to 1. God Spell, a spell that raises a random combat skill of the user by 10. How much of a resemblance the finals would be to a Last Man Standing game is up to Jagex. The players could start with the same exact stats and items as when they won the semi-finalist round, or they could have all their stats boosted to the same level. I don't think it would be a good idea to let them get items through chests throughout Gelenor, considering the fact that viewers could blame the game as being rigged if someone got bad items from chests in their location or somebody got good items from their location. In the safe area is food dependent on the kill count of each player. For example, 1 kill is the single shark reward, 2 kills is 3 sharks, and 3 or more kills is 5 sharks. For somebody to work hard and earn that $10,000 and have somebody completely random or somebody who has a giant clan win it just because. So anyways, if you've made it to this part of the video so far, I really want to say thank you for giving this video a chance and giving me a chance to help improve this game. And if you like any of my suggestions or you want to build upon any of my suggestions, leave a comment below, and hopefully, we can really make this a really fun experience for everybody. As for that, I'd like to thank you again, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
That boy needs therapy. Psychosomatic. That boy needs therapy. Psychosomatic. That boy needs therapy. Lying down on the couch? What does that mean?